over. At last, the long wait is over. After 47 years, the Denver Nuggets.
Parked up outside in the old school. The new me back with the OU. The dog always find his way back home, and it's so true. Later on, fall through and pop one. You know the motto, smoke something, drink something, pop one.
They did it. Not the most flashy, star-studded, but a complete, well-coached basketball team. The Denver Nuggets in their NBA championship run have accomplished something that only a few teams have, racking up only 4 losses throughout this whole postseason, with their MVP putting up all-time numbers and going through a great list of Hall of Famers that I'm sure most of you didn't think they could be early on. It's funny because I didn't know one single person throughout the whole year that thought Denver would make even the Western Conference Finals. And it's pretty foolish because when you look at this team from top to bottom, there's a lot of things that don't even pop out on the stat sheet. Yes, they were a #1 seed the whole year, consistent, but they are a lot better in some areas than we may have realized. It's time you know the complete truth about this team and what it's going to be like going forward, because there's a lot to talk about here. But if you guys don't already know me, my name is Coast and I make tons of basketball videos. I know I was wrong about the Boston prediction, so my credibility may not be at its height. However, I am back, and I do want to say a great thank you to everyone who's been supporting me in the Discord, through private messages, DMs, all that. So clearly I've been doing something right over these last few months. And yeah, we're so close to that 1K, so please hit that like and subscribe if you're new. But without further ado, crazy that this NBA season is over. It was really fun to watch everything unravel. So yeah, let's get into this shit. As I said, this team from top to bottom is something to be reckoned with. Their core is most likely going to stay consisted of Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic. But what I'm really focused on is all the other complementary pieces in the starting lineup and the bench. Will they be able to keep Aaron Gordon, KCP, even players like Bruce Brown and Reggie Jackson coming off the bench? How many players will you be able to keep? Because I think most people forgot Jokic's $50 million contract has not kicked in yet. So for the next 5 or so years, Nikola Jokic will be getting paid $50 million in 2024, $53 million in 2025, and $57 million in 2026. And in their starting lineup alone, they will be combined asking for nearly $150 million, which doesn't leave that much room for depth. But here's where Denver is very smart with this, right? Their main core is already relatively young, and players who they got rid of earlier in the season, I didn't understand at the time, but it makes a lot more sense now. Bones Highland, right? We knew he was a great player. He was their 6th man, could have easily been a starter on another team, but having realized that, there was only 1 or 2 years left on his rookie deal, and realized since they have this great team now, Jokic's money kicking in next year, they would have to pay Highland at least 10 mil. So they trade him for a 33-year-old Reggie Jackson who can still be a backup point guard. I know they only ran a 7-8 man rotation in the playoffs, but my main point is before calling this team a dynasty, you have to take into account that they may need to get rid of 1 or 2 players, and especially how well Bruce Brown and even Christian Braun has been playing, they will get paid more soon. But you can really see it both ways. In my opinion, I know I could be a fool for saying this, but this may be the peak we see of this team, just because I know they have to get rid of some players. But on the other side, their main core still has a lot of room to grow. Jamal Murray is just hitting his prime. Nikola Jokic is just hitting his prime. And once Michael Porter Jr. sets in and has more reps in the game of basketball, because we know he takes some bad shots. Not to mention all the bench players that they have looking like starters, because there's something called the Jokic effect, which is a real thing. He's going to get you a good shot if you are open, and this is why I think this team is by far the most consistent, just really well-coached team with players who have been there for at least 4 to 5 years, have gone through a few runs of the playoffs, almost beat the Lakers in the bubble. As a matter of fact, looking at that 2020 Lakers bubble team, Caldwell Pope, the only guy who had a reign on this team, right, has been there. Has made a lot of clutch shots in this run. You can say he was the arguably 3rd best player on that Lakers championship team. And then when you look at this Denver team, most would consider he's like the 5th or 6th best player on this team, with an MVP and with the guy in Jamal Murray who's been playing like a top tier point guard. We knew he elevated his play in the playoffs. So I don't know why this was so surprising to some people out there. And the Denver bandwagon shift was so drastic recently There are people out there that think Aaron Gordon is going to be an all-star on a team where it has Michael Porter, who's obviously going to elevate to next year, Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic. People think Aaron Gordon has a chance to be in the All-Star games because how amazing he's been. I think we all know why he's so amazing, but looking at this Denver offense, there's so many things you can decipher from it. Jokic has 5 options alone, even when he touches the ball at the block. Aaron Gordon's always a cutter. They cut before they have the ball in their hands because they know Jokic or even Jamal Murray is going to get it to them. It's a great system. So I was looking at this whole team when the NBA posted all the players who got a ring, yada yada yada. I was going through this roster and I didn't even know how great their backups are. Thomas Bryant, who they didn't even play this whole run, game paid $1.8 million, was a starter on the Lakers and considered pretty good after his play in some of these games this year. They have great vets in Ish Smith and Jeff Green, who finally got a ring for the first time, which is great to see because each of them deserve it. They both have a very hard motor. Dude, looking back, I missed something. 580,000. They have Reggie Jackson on 580,000, who started on the Clippers and played all this in the playoffs. What? Okay, you can't fool me anymore. I see now what Denver has done the whole year. They're just fleecing the fuck out of the league. Damn, this must have been Jokic's plan all along, to use his brothers to intimidate people in the league to sign with them for less. That's genius, man. How did I not think about it? Maybe that's why he's not as happy as he should be for winning. But either these players are just going to get paid even less because how old some of them are getting, or they might have to squad wipe this whole team, really. I don't know how many of these guys are going to be able to stay with the pay cuts. It's honestly crazy when making these playoff predictions. I said the Phoenix Suns would beat the Denver Nuggets in 6 games, but I also did say Denver would beat anyone else. I knew how good they were, just Phoenix was on a roll, bro, and they also have Kevin Durant, who didn't perform up to par. If he performed like he normally did, I actually think they could have gone to Game 7 at least. Also combined with the fact that DeAndre Ayton was a huge bitch throughout these playoffs. Didn't really have anyone who could guard Jokic in that series. Really, it was 2 players on Phoenix that got 2 games on this Denver team, and after with what they did to the Lakers, it probably wasn't that surprising that Denver was able to close out that series in a 30-point victory, because I know a lot of people were very surprised, including myself, after that Phoenix actually ended up losing. But yeah, that's how it goes. Denver, no dispute. Everybody knew they were the best team throughout the regular season and now the playoffs, and it's good to see them get some media recognition because we know the whole fiasco, the whole racist MVP conversation, Jokic not going to win 3 times in a row, voter fatigue. I'm so happy they got through all that adversity, and now I guess people can complain about the altitude. That's the only thing we can do from now on. Hope Jokic doesn't go off and complain about them being in a high altitude arena. That's how we stop Denver in the future, guys. I found the secret Krabby Patty formula to just offset anything Denver does. I hope you guys all enjoyed this Denver breakdown, truth, NBA Finals run, whatever you want to call it. Congrats to Denver and all the fans they had. I know a lot of people called this finals boring, but this I think is great for the NBA in the future, having some diversity with everything, small markets getting into the finals, and seeing how people react afterwards, because once they got the chip, you can't really say much, right? But let me know in the comments for any video ideas you want this offseason. I can really do a lot. I do a lot of trades on my TikTok. If you want to go follow it, it's in the description. But just let me know if there's anything. You can hit me up whenever. You guys know I always respond, and I will try to keep pumping out the videos for the summer. And that's really all for me. Take care and peace.